before we are Africa, America, Europe, Australia, Antarctica, or Asia, we are all human beings meant to be harmonious with nature and all that this world has to offer. Therefore, the importance of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in developing and advancing humanity economically, politically, environmentally, and socially cannot be outwitted. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. I am Tadiwanashe deliverer in Souta, aged 22. I'm currently studying development studies at Midland State University in Zimbabwe, level 2-2. Please allow me to share and shed a little light on all the sustainable development goals and how best we could implement them in Africa and above all, worldwide. I'll start by listing the 17 sustainable development goals and give statistical background of the problems which the sustainable development goals are addressing. Lastly, I'll suggest ways of solving these problems. Before I get into my presentation, let me hasten to acknowledge the sources of my speech. I believe we need not to reinvent the wheel, but rather fix, develop, and improve it. This speech is a construct of many sources. Among them are the United Nations Development Programme publications, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development publication, SEDI Framework for Disaster Management Reduction, and lectures and information from my university lecturers, among them Dr. Chikor and Dr. Chibanda. The Sustainable Development Goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, to mention but a few. The challenges: it is estimated that approximately 700 billion people live on less than $90 per day. A total of 1.3 billion people are multidimensionally poor, including a disproportionate number of women and people with disabilities. And 80% of humanity lives on less than $10 per day. Increasingly, the middle-income countries account for a large part of this trend. The disempowering nature of social, economic, and political exclusion results in ineffective, unaccountable, non-transparent institutions and processes that hamper the ability of states to address persistent structural inequalities. Some countries are disproportionately affected by shocks and stressors such as climate change, disaster, violence, extremism, conflicts, economic and financial volatility, epidemics, food insecurity, and environmental degradation. Ladies and gentlemen, people cannot prosper without reliable, safe, and affordable energy to power everything, from lights to vehicles to factories to hospitals. And yet 840 million people worldwide have no access to electricity, and 2.9 billion people use solid fuels to cook or heat their homes, exposing their families to grave health hazards and contributing to the vast deforestation worldwide. In these and other ways, energy is connected to every one of the Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the problems which have called for the unity of all nations in constructing the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The big question of the day then is, how best can we solve these evils that have the majority of mankind backbroken and on their knees? To say the least, I believe the role of the states and their governments in promoting and bringing to life the 17 Sustainable Development Goals cannot be overruled. And the most important aspect here in Africa and worldwide, the solutions. The government as the vision or the goal setter. The governments need to provide vision and strategy to incorporate sustainability in public policy. The government would need to develop strategies and the transition to an economic based on sustainable principles. The government as the leaders, or them leading by example. The government can improve the environmental performance of public procurements whereby the public funds are used in constructing of highways, buildings, power generation, transportation, and water and sanitation services. Green procurement can also provide impetus to innovate and environmentally friendly products. As an example, Japan used procurement of low-emission automobiles to drive innovation. the government as the innovator or the catalyst. The government needs to play a strategic role in advancing innovation in all sectors of society, since the advancement of sustainability will demand change. There is a strong need for technological and policy innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, I openly urge each and every one of us to take a leap of faith in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals that we are, and that we are all responsible. Our participation and contribution is one of the greatest values that we can ever impact on the society. Before we are all Africans, Americans, Europeans, Australians, Antarcticans, or Asians, we are all human beings and stewards of this world and one another. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.